Last May, I celebrated 15 years of sobriety, which is a long time. It's almost as long as I drank. And getting sober was the single best decision of my life. But it didn't always feel that way. I didn't think that way. It took me 6 months actually to go to my first meeting, 6 months after I knew that I needed to go because I was so afraid of what I thought my life would be like as a sober man. I thought I would lose my creativity. I thought I'd lose my edge. I thought I'd lose my humor, my access to fun. And I'm happy to say that that was not true. But I've learned to experience joy and wonder, fulfillment on a level really that I didn't know was possible. But those first few years of sobriety were tough. I had to negotiate a lot of emotions and new ways of relating to people. And I was not very grateful. I didn't like the idea of getting sober. And it's a funny thing to say because today I couldn't imagine my life any other way. Today I wake up filled with gratitude for who I can be and how I can show up in the world. Today, my life is full of possibility, and I owe it all to that decision I made. But it didn't just happen, right? There was a lot of work that was involved, and to put a point on it, I couldn't have done it by myself. Which doesn't mean that I don't think that people can't stop drinking by themselves just through willpower. I couldn't. I tried, but I couldn't. But there are those who can. But the gratitude that I experienced, that actually was a gift of belonging to a group. And for me, that's the difference between gratitude and happiness. Right? Happiness, it can be influenced by external factors like events and achievements and even people, but it's often more focused on an individual's internal state. Right? Happy people often have positive, healthy relationships, but their happiness is not solely dependent on those relationships. Gratitude, on the other hand, not only recognizes good things in our lives, but also acknowledges the role others play in bringing those good things about. Gratitude is embedded in the positive dimensions of interconnectedness. Gratitude is relational. Relational, whether that's with another person, whether it's with the earth, or whether it's with the divine. It's relational. And for anyone who's unfamiliar with the rooms, the 12-step program, it can be fueled. It seems like it's fueled, truly, with overused, corny sayings. Like, is it odd or is it God? Anger is only one letter away from danger. People don't find these funny. I think they're hilarious. And so corny. Fear is the dark room where negatives are developed. Yeah, exactly. Someone just got it. Don't just do something, sit there. And, as much as I roll my eyes at these pithy aphorisms, they've come to guide my life. And you're definitely going to hear some in future sermon titles because they're really great. So buckle up, Buttercup. But the one that kept ringing in my head as I was prepping for this sermon is a cheesy little jingle that always seemed to pop out of the mouths of people who annoyed me the most because it felt a little too easy, but it's also true. And that's especially annoying when annoying people say things that are true. Right? Because they're like, you've got to have an attitude of gratitude. An attitude of gratitude. Yeah, no, let's say that with me, right? Join me in the cheesiness of that phrase, an attitude of gratitude. Okay, now join me in the truth of that phrase, an attitude of gratitude. An attitude of gratitude, right? It is both of those things, cheesy and true. It's not difficult to be grateful for pleasurable things, right? We all love snow days. You get to stay home from work or from school. That's fun. We love vacations. Oh, yeah, now you got Zoom. No more snow days for your parents. or probably school too. They probably make you do that now. Okay, well, sorry. Snow days were amazing. They were. We all love vacations, dessert, laughing with friends, but it's harder to be grateful for things that are not immediately pleasurable, right? Or may never be pleasurable, but actually make our lives better. Maybe you got fired, divorced. Maybe you had to change schools, or you got sick, like really sick. And while you were going through that experience, it was terrible, right? But later you could see that you were unhappy at that job or that marriage. And it was only through this truly unfortunate thing that happened that you were forced to change your direction and happiness became available. I know people who became grateful for their illness because it helped them reevaluate what was important in their life. And they weren't always grateful right away. Initially, they were angry and resentful and bitter. But in time, even when there wasn't a lot of time left, they could see that life really was precious. Somewhere along the way, for whatever reason, they encountered gratitude. And there are many people who have more than enough in this world, and they are still not happy. And there are others who, by certain standards, struggle, but they are joyful. And the difference is gratitude, or more specifically, an attitude of gratitude. Yeah, it's the worst. Come on, an attitude of gratitude. I know. Now, if you've actually experienced how gratitude expanded your life, say it with me for real. An attitude of gratitude. Yeah. Yesterday, after it was all over and all of the buyers had gone home and the 61st annual holiday shop had ended, a couple dozen of us gathered right there on the back patio for champagne and cheese to watch the sunset and to give thanks. Hair that was neatly combed in the morning was now flying in every which way. And the adrenaline that had been keeping people rolling through the day was washing out of our systems, and the tired looks were starting to set in. The air was chilly, but the atmosphere was warm. If each person had gone out and worked at Starbucks for all of the hours that were put into the holiday shop and then came and gave their wage here, we probably would have earned more money. Right? There were so many hours that were put into it. But actually what happened was we earned more than money. Right? If you'd done that with Starbucks and donated the money, you would have done it on your own, and you would have done it in an isolated way. Yesterday, we raised funds for the church, but also something else happened. We created bond and relationship and memories and gratitude. Someone came up to me as we were watching the sunset, and he was like, well, a couple of potatoes bumped against each other today. Which I loved hearing, and I hope that becomes one of our phrases. And for those of you who weren't here for that sermon, it means that people kind of collided together like potatoes boiling in a pot, because they had different opinions on how something should be done. And we can't always see it in the moment, but if an attitude of gratitude guides us, then we often can see how actually we both want the same thing, which is for this church to be successful and loving and caring and nurturing and prophetic. And for that reason, actually, that's why we bump, because we care so much. If you don't care, it's really like, oh, whatever. You'll hear me say this over and over again because I just love it. But Famously, Thomas Jefferson was asked if he believed in luck. And he said, yes. And the harder I work, the more luck I get. The same is true with gratitude. The more grateful you are, the more invested you are in finding a way to be grateful, even in situations that are hard and difficult, the more you will find it. Even if you're grieving a situation and you're unhappy about how things are turning out, the attitude of gratitude works like a compost pile on our anger and resentment and bitterness and opens us to a future of possibility. Now, we've come to the point in our service where we're going to use our thank you cards. So I hope you still have them. And when we were planning this during our staff meeting, we decided that what we'd really like you to do is find someone in the room, right? I know, this group of miscreants. No, look around. You can find someone here. I guarantee you. If you're at home following us online, we'd still love for you to fill out the short thank you card, send it in to us, drop it off. We'll find a way to get it to the right person. But for those of you who are here, see if you can hand your card to someone in the room. And just in this card, just share a short story or a message about why you feel grateful, right? Remember that gratitude is relational. How did they help you feel grateful? And if you want to bring this to the next level, these are for the achievers in the room, perhaps share with them a story about gratitude you feel now that you didn't when you first had that encounter with them. And I want you to be careful here. So I'm not going to write a thank you to Glenn, reminding him of the time that he called me a no good, lousy jerk, and how that experience taught me not to care about his stupid ideas, and for that I'm really grateful, right? That's not gratitude. That's some petty-ass garbage. So don't do that, right? But honestly, sometimes you have an encounter with somebody and you're like, I did not agree initially. And now I do. Now that opened me up. I can see something there. And that's a wonderful thing to share with somebody. If it doesn't come easy, don't worry. Like, just share a moment of gratitude with someone. They probably have no idea that you feel this way. Before we let you loose, one more guideline, and I'm grateful to Anne for pointing this out. It could be that staff end up with a lot of cards. We love to be thanked. We love to be thanked, truly. But for this exercise, we'd really like you to give your cards to one another. If you would like to thank a staff member, send us another card. Do it. We would love to get it. But the exercise today is to look around this room and see someone else that you are a member with. Now, if you can't see someone, it's okay. You can walk around the room, take a little look. It doesn't have to be a super long message. If you have a hard time writing, or if you don't yet know how to write, you can actually maybe get some help, or you can just go up to the person and tell them that you're grateful they're in your life. There's no wrong way to do this. But if you can fill out the card, it's always nice to walk away with a physical reminder of gratitude. It helps the rest of us stay in that. I know. It feels so bad and so good at the same time. It's like chicken nuggets or something. I know.